Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. This is a special webinar as part of our ongoing client webinar series, and the reason for the special webinar is that this is part of our communication and education process for our new system, which we're excited about bringing it to you all. This is the work that's going on right now is the culmination of work over the last year from our team and part of communication over the last few months with all of you as we get to the point of going live. So as we get to the point of going live, and May 1st is within the next week, obviously, this session today, we've got the key people to come to you and talk to you about the new system. With us today on the session are Julie Blink, our VP of Admin, whom you'll be hearing from in just a moment, Amanda Rice, our Administrative Quality Manager, and Brooke Clark, our Technical Specialist. Thank you for joining us today. Just a couple of quick words of instruction. First of all, your questions are welcome. The best way to submit a question is through the question box on the control panel. We'll answer as many of those as we can during the session. If we don't get to it during the session, we'll get back to you. You're also, of course, welcome to submit a question to your designated account manager at ProBenefits or to our box at trust@probenefits.com. Without further ado, Julie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. Good afternoon. We are coming to you after many months of planning for our system migration. Communications have been coming since January to all involved to get us to what I like to call Migration Eve today. So for today, we're going to look at new portals. We're going to have a system demo, and we're going to answer your questions. So just a note about the new portals. We have two entirely new portals for both the consumer and the employer, and you'll see the web addresses up there. A note about that, in the past, we have had the same username and password that our employer contacts could use. With our new system, you will have separate ones. So without anything further, I think we should get now on to the demo. And Brooke, will you show everyone our new system?
Thanks, Julie. Really excited to kind of show everybody what they've all been waiting for. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I just want to do a check and make sure that you guys are seeing my phone right now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So like Julie said, today we are going to take a very high-level look at the mobile app. We're going to look at the consumer portal, and we're going to take a look at the employer portal, really focusing on the features and the areas that are going to be most useful for consumers and employers. Right now, we're looking at the home page of the mobile app. As you can see, we can see account information up at the top. We've got an I Want To section where consumers can go to complete a variety of actions, so file a claim, making transactions, eligible expense scanner. We also have a task section, so if there's any to-do items out there for the consumer, those are going to appear in the task section. And then we also have an account overview section at the bottom of the home page. The first thing I want to show you is going to be how simple it is to attach a receipt to a claim using the mobile app. So I'm going to go to the task section where it says action required. We need a receipt. So I'm going to click on the task, and that's going to open up some details. So it's going to tell me what the claim is for, that it's required, and the date. And if I click on it, here again, we see some details related to the claim, and then I see towards the bottom the opportunity to add my receipt. And if I click on that, I can add the receipt using the camera on my phone. I'm just taking a picture of an invoice. I'm going to say, yes, that's the one I want to use. And now it's attached to my claim, and that's everything that I need to do. We go back to our home page. Now we see there are no tasks remaining, so we've completed that task. Another really exciting feature on the mobile app is the eligible expense scanner, and I just wanted to take a minute to show you guys how cool this is. So if we turn it on, and you can see my desk here, all we have to do is scan a barcode, and it's going to tell us if the item is an eligible expense or not. So we could scan another item, or we can just clear out of this and go back to our home page if we're done. that's a really quick look at the mobile app. And now I want to jump into the consumer portal. So let me get that screen pulled up. Okay, so now we should be looking at a login page, and this is the consumer portal. So as Julie mentioned, there's two different websites for the consumer portal versus the employer portal. So right now, we're going to go into our consumer portal. We'll log in. And it looks like it's just going to take a little minute. There we go. So now we're looking at the home page of the consumer portal. And today I'm just going to give you a quick tour of the home page because this is really meant to be sort of a one-stop shop for your consumers, and we have a lot of the most used items on this home page. The first section you'll notice is this I want to section, and we've got some buttons in here so we could file a claim, make a transaction, manage expenses. These buttons are dynamic, and so really the consumers are only going to see buttons that are relevant to them. So that, they're not going to see a button out here that doesn't apply to something that they are enrolled in. If we scroll a little farther down the home page, we get to the account section. So really a quick glance at available balance information for all of the plans that this consumer is enrolled in. Again, we have another task section, very similar to the home page of the mobile app. Consumers are going to find to-do items here. Sometimes they'll see a suggestion to maybe set up a direct deposit, or what we're seeing here is projected payments that are coming up on May 1st. A little farther down, we get to our recent transactions section, and here the consumer is going to see their 3 most recent transactions. It's really just meant to be a quick reference. All they have to do is log in quick. They can scroll down to this section of the page and see the last 3 transactions that have gone through on their account. At the bottom, we have a quick view section where we are graphically displaying key metrics and really meant to provide at-a-glance information that is relevant and personalized to the consumer. Most consumers are going to use their debit card at the point of sale, but claims or expenses can be added manually from the consumer portal or from the mobile app. So that's what I'd like to show you next. If we go to the I Want To section and we click on the button to file a claim, it is going to bring up forms. This is really step-by-step. It's a wizard format. So it's very intuitive, and it's going to be a really simple process for the consumers to use. So we just pick the account type. I'm going to make a medical claim. I'm going to have it paid to me. We click next, and here it's going to ask us to upload documentation again. So I'm going to go in and upload a receipt. So you guys can see all of my information here. Let's just upload our receipt, and we'll click next. And here's where we're going to fill in our claim details. So let's say we had a claim last week, $3. Maybe this was a vision expense. And then we pick the recipient. So all of the dependents that are listed will be listed here. You could also go in and add another one if maybe there was a child or a spouse or somebody missing. And we click next. It's going to give us a quick preview of what we've done. We have to agree to the terms and conditions, and then we can submit it. And the claim has been filed and reimbursement has now been requested. We also have a dashboard where you can add expenses. So maybe if you want to track expenses, but you don't necessarily want to request the reimbursement yet, here on the expense dashboard is where you could do that. So if we look a little bit down here towards the bottom, we see here we have an expense listed here. and we know it's an expense because we see this button over here that says pay. So this was added as an expense. Looks like it was done back in February. So it hasn't been paid yet, but it's actually really simple to request payment on an expense. We just click on the button. Again, we have to pick the type of claim, who it's going to be paid to. And because the expense was already added, this information is pre-populating for us. So all we have to do is pick our category and our type, and we can click next, agree to terms and conditions, and now we have requested reimbursement for that expense. We go back to our dashboard. If we scroll down, we no longer see the pay button over here. So reimbursement has been requested. All right. So those are kind of the most important features. Yeah. Next, I wanted to give a quick look at the employer portal. So let me get logged into that. All right. I'll make this a little bit bigger because sometimes it's hard to see. Okay, so now we're looking at the home page of our employer portal. And the employer portal is really going to provide you some valuable self-service convenience. Up at the top, we have a bunch of tabs which really give you access to different subject areas within the portal. There's also quick links throughout the page of the employer portal that you can click on to find more information. One of the important things, or the first things I wanted to cover with you, is how simple it is to add a new employee. So if we hover over the Employees tab, we'll see a couple of different things here. So first, we have a button. If we want to view all employees, we can click on that link and it's going to bring up a full list of the employees that are in there. We also can search by, or search for an employee using maybe last name, first name, an employee number if it's assigned. You don't have to complete all of these sections. You could search by just the last name if you wanted to. We also have this recently viewed employee section, which is really helpful. You know, maybe you've gotten off the phone with someone and you needed to go back and take care of an enrollment change for them, and you come back in here and that name has slipped your mind. You will likely see that person sitting here in this recently viewed employees, and you can just click on the name and it'll bring you into the account. So while we're looking at the account, we're looking at Harriet Ashley right now. We've got all of these tabs here. So these are all related to the employee. The profile is going to contain personal information, demographic information, all of which you could update or edit if needed. We can also see if there's any dependents listed for this employee. I don't see any dependents listed for this employee right now, but it is as simple as clicking on new dependent, and we'll just fill this in quick. See if I can remember the social that I just created. Full-time student, no. It's a dependent and it's a child. And it's going to automatically add the dependent to the plan. And now we see we have a dependent listed. We also have access to account summary information. So if you just want to come in and get a quick look at this employee's enrollment, it's as simple as coming to this account summary tab. You can also come into the enrollment tab. And here you'd be able to update enrollment if necessary. We also have a contributions tab, so you can get a little bit more detail of funds that are being contributed to the account. We do have a claims tab where you'll be able to see de-identified claims data. So it's going to exclude any HIPAA-sensitive information, but you can come out here and get really a basic understanding of claims. There's also a payments tab, and then we have a status tab as well. So that's if this employee is already in here. But if we needed to add a new employee, again, we come to our employees tab and we just click on add employee, and all of the pieces of information that are required are going to have a red asterisk next to them. So it's pretty simple. You just come through, complete the form, filling in all of the required information, and then you click add employee, and the employee record has now been added to the employer portal. So one other thing, on your home page, there is a recently created report section. So this is just going to auto-populate with the most recently created reports. I do want to show you an example of a report. One that a lot of employers use is the account balance detail report. And I have an example of that one. Right over here. So here's an example of the account balance detail report. You'll see that this report is broken down by plan type. And if we scroll down a little bit farther, we can see it broken down even farther by specific consumer. Under the plans tab, we can click on it, and you'll see general plan information out here. So it's not going to give you a ton of information, but if you need a quick reference, this plans tab is going to be a great place to go. There's also a resources tab where you could access commonly used forms and documents, which will be specific to you as the employer. And then there's also a links tab if there's any important links or common links that you might need access to. So again, that was pretty fast and furious, a really quick high-level look at all three of the portals, but we should have time for questions if I missed anything or if you're confused about something I showed. But otherwise, Julie, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Brooke. I would clarify one thing. Right now, for everyone, we have 2 reports scheduled, and I know that some of you have been receiving some notifications in the past week, and that was just getting us to this point. So after the full migration is done, you'll be able to see scheduled reports like you saw with Brooke. So I know that we are already answering questions as I speak. So we want to kind of wrap up here. We want to encourage you to go ahead and log on. The full system migration is not complete at this point, but soon it will be. I'm going to skip to bullet 3 and say watch for that. So watch for our go live alert, but go ahead and log in and be ready for when you start getting those system notifications of reporting. If you have any questions, contact your account manager. We have had internal training and we are ready for your questions.
And Julie, I think that is important. Our go live date has been May 1st, but you really do need to watch for the go live alerts on our website and our social media and the emails, because we're ahead of schedule. We're doing really well. So I would look for those alerts.
Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Brooke. Our next webinar related to the system is for employers that have HSA bank accounts with us. That we're going to do a webinar specific to the HSAs on the platform on Thursday, May the 9th at 2. And we'll be sending out some reminders about that. We have a compliance webinar unrelated to the system next Tuesday, April the 30th at 11. Some people have asked us if this session was recorded today, and it was. We will make that available to you in case you have a team member that wasn't able to attend today. As Julie mentioned, we're continuing to answer questions through the question box. If you've submitted a question we haven't gotten to, feel free to hang around for a few minutes and we will try to get your question answered. If you have a question after the session, again, feel free to contact your ProBenefits account manager or email us at trust@probenefits.com. Thank you for your time today, and best wishes for a great afternoon.